Have you ever been sitting quietly after enjoying a delicious meal, feeling completely relaxed, and suddenly, burp comes out of nowhere? Sometimes it's soft and barely noticeable, and other times it's loud enough to grab attention. It might make you feel embarrassed in public, or strangely relieved when you're alone. But have you ever paused for a moment and asked yourself, why does this happen? Why do we burp? Is it simply a bad habit or poor manners? Or is there something much deeper happening inside our bodies? Burping, also known as belching, is actually a completely natural and essential biological process. It is the release of gas from the digestive system through the mouth. This gas doesn't magically appear, it comes from very specific sources. One of the main sources is the air we swallow during everyday activities like eating, drinking, talking, or even laughing. Every time you take a bite of food, sip a drink, or have a conversation during a meal, you unknowingly swallow small amounts of air. This air travels down a tube called the esophagus and eventually reaches your stomach, where it begins to collect. Now think of your stomach as a flexible container, almost like a balloon. As more air enters, the pressure inside starts to increase. Your body is very sensitive to this pressure, and it constantly works to maintain balance. When the pressure becomes too much, your body activates a response to release it. This is where the fascinating mechanism of burping begins. At the top of your stomach, there is a ring-like muscle known as the lower esophageal sphincter. This muscle acts like a gatekeeper. It opens to allow food and drinks to enter the stomach and then closes tightly to prevent the contents of the stomach from moving back up. But when gas builds up and pressure increases, your body detects it through specialized nerves. These nerves send signals to your brain, alerting it that something needs to be done. In response, your brain triggers a reflex. This reflex causes the lower esophageal sphincter to relax temporarily. At the same time, the stomach muscles contract slightly, pushing the trapped gas upward. The gas then travels back up through the esophagus and finally exits through the mouth. This entire process happens in just a fraction of a second, and what you experience is a burp. It might feel sudden and uncontrollable, but in reality, it is a perfectly coordinated action involving multiple systems in your body. Interestingly, not all the gas in your stomach comes from swallowed air. Some of it is produced during the digestion of food. When your stomach breaks down food, especially certain types like beans, cabbage, onions, and fried items, it can release gases such as carbon dioxide. Carbonated drinks like soda add even more gas because they contain dissolved carbon dioxide, which gets released in your stomach. This is why you often feel the urge to burp after drinking fizzy beverages. Burping plays an important role in keeping your digestive system comfortable. Without it, the gas trapped in your stomach would continue to build up, leading to bloating, discomfort, and even pain. Imagine inflating a balloon and never letting the air escape. It would eventually become too tight and uncomfortable. Your body prevents this situation by allowing you to burp and release the excess gas. So instead of seeing it as something embarrassing, it's actually a helpful and protective function. However, not everyone burps the same amount. Some people experience it more frequently than others, and this can depend on various factors. Eating too quickly is one of the most common reasons. When you eat fast, you tend to swallow more air along with your food. Talking while eating also increases the amount of air you take in. Chewing gum, smoking, and drinking through a straw can also lead to more air entering your digestive system. There is also a condition known as aerophagia, where a person swallows excessive amounts of air, often without realizing it. This can lead to frequent burping and discomfort. In addition, dietary choices play a big role. Foods that are high in fiber or difficult to digest can produce more gas during digestion. Spicy and fatty foods may also slow down digestion, allowing more gas to build up. Another interesting aspect of burping is the sound it produces. That familiar burp sound is not random. It is created when gas passes through the esophagus and out of the mouth, causing vibrations. The loudness and tone of the sound depend on several factors, including how much gas is being released, how fast it is moving, and the shape of your throat and mouth at that moment. This is why some burps are quiet and subtle, while others can be quite loud and dramatic. Now let's explore the social perspective. Is burping really bad manners? From a biological point of view, it is completely normal and necessary. Your body needs it to function properly. However, social norms and cultural expectations often view burping differently. In many cultures, especially in formal or public settings, burping loudly is considered impolite or disrespectful. People are expected to control it or at least do it quietly. Interestingly, this is not the case everywhere. In some cultures, especially in certain parts of Asia and the Middle East, burping after a meal can be seen as a sign of satisfaction. It indicates that you enjoyed the food and are full. This shows how something that is purely biological can be interpreted differently depending on cultural context. While occasional burping is completely normal, excessive burping can sometimes be a sign of an underlying problem. Conditions like acid reflux, also known as GERD, can cause frequent burping along with symptoms like heartburn and chest discomfort. Indigestion, gastritis, and even stress or anxiety can also increase burping. When you are stressed, you may swallow more air without realizing it, which leads to more gas buildup. If someone experiences persistent burping along with pain, discomfort, or other unusual symptoms, it is important to pay attention. In such cases, it may be wise to consult a medical professional to rule out any serious issues. Your body often uses simple signals like burping to communicate what is happening inside. The good news is that while you cannot completely stop burping, you can reduce how often it happens. Simple lifestyle changes can make a big difference. Eating slowly and chewing your food properly can reduce the amount of air you swallow. Avoiding carbonated drinks and limiting chewing gum can also help. Sitting upright while eating and avoiding overeating can further improve digestion. Managing stress is another important factor. Relaxation techniques like deep breathing can reduce unconscious air swallowing. Being mindful of your eating habits can go a long way in controlling excessive burping. There are also some interesting facts about burping that many people don't know. On average, a person burps around 10 to 20 times a day, often without even noticing it. Babies burp more frequently because they swallow a lot of air while feeding, which is why parents gently pat their backs to help release the trapped gas. Some people can even burp on command by controlling their throat muscles, turning it into a kind of skill or trick. In the end, burping is much more than just a random or embarrassing act. It is a small but important part of a complex system that keeps your body functioning smoothly. It reflects the incredible coordination between your digestive system, nervous system, and muscles. Even something as simple as a burp involves precise timing and communication within your body. So the next time you burp, instead of feeling embarrassed, take a moment to appreciate what your body is doing. It is simply releasing pressure, maintaining balance, and taking care of itself. What may seem like a minor and awkward moment is actually a sign of a healthy and working system. Sometimes, the simplest actions reveal the most fascinating truths about how our bodies function.